clock is on the clock, and we are all here together for a wonderful session that is coming up right next. Three wonderful panelists here to talk to us on the topic protecting coastal cities, managing sea level rise, coastal erosion, and flood risks. Our very first session of BRICS Friendship Cities Conclave this year, and we will begin this session now. So hence to talk to us and moderate this lovely conversation and drive it forward, we have someone with over 3 decades of experience and someone who's worked extensively across governance, infrastructure, and urban development as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome retired governing board member, Mumbai First, Shri Sanjay Ubale, IAS. Can we have a big clap in the house for Mr. Sanjay as he comes up? So he will moderate this conversation and drive it forward. Let me invite our 3 panelists who will be coming up on the stage. So firstly, I have someone in the house who specializes in government strategy, policy research, and planning from smart cities, emerging industries, and digital transformation as well. In the house right now, please put your hands together and welcome the president of Shanghai Smart City Development Institute, China, Mr. Sheng Xuefeng, on the stage. Big claps in the house as we have the gentleman come up. And of course, joining us next to share her thoughts on this lovely panel, we have with us someone with over 30 years of international development experience, someone who's worked extensively on governance, reform, climate finance, environmental sustainability all across in the South Triangular Cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the Executive Director, KEMITRAAN Partnership of Governance Reform, Indonesia, Ms. Nurina Widagdo, on the stage. Big claps in the house for the lovely lady walking in to share her thoughts. And of course, our final panelist who will be joining us on the stage, we have someone who works on climate risk management and serves as a vulnerability manager and national focal point for the Adaptation Fund with a focus on climate change cooperation. With us in the house right now, we have the Risk Management Director, Central Administration for Climate Change Ministry of Local Development and Environment, Egypt. Please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Alauddin Sayediwas on the stage. Loud claps on the stage for the lovely panel. So the conversation will be going forward, and I invite Mr. Sanjay to take it forward and drive the conversation.
So thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And after that wonderful inauguration that we saw this morning, we have an extremely important panel, at least from Mumbai's city's point of view, in terms of sea level rise and the impact of climate change on cities in general. So we have participants from 3 different places. We have somebody from Shanghai. We have Mr. Sheng from Shanghai. We have Ms. Nurina from Jakarta in Indonesia, and Mr. Iwase from Egypt. So welcome all of you. Thank you for being here and making time to share your experiences back from your homes. Now, as far as sea level rise is concerned, in 2005, we saw what sea level rise can do, what can climate change do. 2005, some of you probably are aware, in 2005, Mumbai received massive rainfalls. In one day, over 1,000 centimeters of rainfall happened in one day. And there was a havoc in the city of Mumbai. And it coincided with high tides. Mumbai, as some of you probably know, is an island that got created out of 7 islands through reclamation. And therefore, there are some low-lying areas got flooded and a number of lives got lost. But that was only because of high rainfall. That's also an impact of climate change, and also high tides. But we know that in the next, by 2100, it's estimated that about 75 centimeters of additional sea level rise will happen. If that happens, Mumbai, which is the low-lying areas, are going to be even more affected. So what should a city like Mumbai be doing is one question. What should the cities in Maharashtra and in the country should be doing, which are similarly placed in terms of impact of sea level rise and climate change? So we are going to explore some of these questions, and we are going to really request all of you to tell us as to how your cities, how your countries are preparing for it, and in what way we can learn from you as well, and how we can take it forward together. So with that, I'm going to request Nurina, can I make a request to you to make your first presentation and tell us about what you're doing in your part of the world. Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
In the next 10 minutes, I'll take you to Indonesia and we'll talk about two important things. One is how we promote coastal resilience, and the second is the collaborative governance that involve the government, national, subnational, as well as the civil society, the community, and the private sector. Can I have my presentation?
And also, can you have the presentations on the monitors in front? Because the speakers otherwise will have to look behind. So while that's, okay, that's done. Yeah, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, around the world, coastal cities are facing the rise of the sea level, as we all know, but as well as the coastal erosion, but more frequent floodings as well. As you can see in Indonesia, one of the countries that is suffering a lot due to the rise of the sea level as well as the subsidence of the land. Jakarta is perhaps one of the worst country that has been suffering a lot in that area. But I'm not talking about Jakarta at this moment. I think some of you already familiar with what Jakarta is doing. But I want to take you to the more local level where the suffer is probably not as bad as Jakarta, but the effect to the local community is perhaps worse. Okay, what make the coastal cities resilient last? As we can see here, protecting coastal lines matter. But our experience has taught us more simple lesson that is not only about protecting the coastal lines, but also protecting the people. And more importantly, is actually, this is not the last version of the presentation. Okay, Indonesia has the largest, the longest coastal line. As you can see here, we have islands, about 17,000 islands, and that spread all the way from Sumatra to the border with Papua New Guinea. You can imagine we are talking about 280 million people, and we have about 2/3 of our population live in the coastal areas. With that in mind, we can imagine that the good governance is an important area to talk about and to deal with, because it's not just about the rise of the sea level, but also about the people. I want to talk about the island of Java. What you see in front of you here is the island of Java. Jakarta is on the left side. But what I'm going to talk more is about Pekalongan, which is in central Java. The whole area in the northern coast of Java Island is severely affected by the rise of the sea level as well as the subsidence of the land. So as you can see, about 140 million people live on the island of Java. It's a very crowded island. And the Java Island is the center for economic and industrial hub in Indonesia. You can imagine if something happens with the island, I think the whole country is also collapsing. As you can see here, 18 of the 29 big cities that we have in Indonesia are located in the coastal line, not only in Java, but also outside Java. And also the particular area that we are talking about, the Pekalongan area, has suffered a lot from the subsidence of the sea level, which is about 3 to 10 centimeter per year. So in 10 years, it's 1 meter. In 20 years, it's 22 meters. The impact is very bad. Jakarta is actually worse. But Jakarta, given the fact that it's a national capital, has a lot of attention from the government. But the smaller cities, they don't enjoy the same treatment from the government at the moment. A big initiative has been set out, which is building a seawall along the northern coast, which is 500 kilometers long, and it will cost about 80 to 100 billion US dollar when everything is constructed. That's a lot of money, and the question is that whether that seawall will solve the problem. Probably not all the problems will be resolved by the seawall. Okay, before I go further, I want to explain a little bit why I'm here. I'm the Executive Director of KEMITRAAN Partnership for Governance Reform. It's a non-profit organization that has been there for more than 20 years. We work very closely with the government, with the community, with the private sector. And recently, we have worked mostly on the climate finance, if you're familiar with that. There are big global financing mechanisms that are in place. One of them, or two of them, are the Green Climate Fund and the Adaptation Fund. KEMITRAAN is the national accredited entity that is able to access that money that will accompany the budget from the government. So we are not talking about small money here because as of today, from the Adaptation Fund, KEMITRAAN has received about 10 million US dollar, and there are still about 18 million that can be tapped by Indonesia through KEMITRAAN. So we have the luxury of accessing the money, but also the mandate and the responsibility to ensure that the money is spent well. In addition to the Adaptation Fund, there is also the Green Climate Fund. We are the direct access entity for the GCF, and we just received 10 million US dollar for Pekalongan greater area to address the impacts of the climate adaptation work. Okay, the question is that why governance matters. As you can see that infrastructure, of course, protect the coastal area. We can also see that there are climate science that help identify the risk. We also see that there are also nature-based solutions, infrastructure, climate finance, the money itself, whether it's from the government or from the international funding. The community also there, they are the ones that are receiving the most effect of the climate problems, but they also need to be part of the solution. And this is where KEMITRAAN comes into the picture. We want to work with the community to be part of the solution, not just to receive what other people have decided for them. So when we talk about that, we also involve the private sector because they are part of the solution if they are dealt with properly. The whole circle is actually about collaborative governance, and this is what I'm talking about here. Okay, let's go to the Pekalongan area. As you remember at the map, Pekalongan is located in the central area of the Java island. We are talking about 300-something thousand people that are living there and affected by the flooding. The flooding stay there. It's not coming and going, but stay the whole year. And then because of that, 75% of the agriculture has lost. That's a lot because KEMITRAAN, and like any other, Pekalongan, just like any other areas, Indonesia is still agriculture-based. 75% of the agriculture has gone due to the floods. So the area itself, 70% is already subdued by water the whole year. And how much money that is lost? A study shows that actually it's about 87 million US dollar per year. That's a lot of money that we are talking about. So what do we do here? So instead of asking what the project is to be built, KEMITRAAN, with the funding from the Adaptation Fund and the upcoming Green Climate Fund, we are hoping that the community can be part of the solution. We connect people, we connect the government, we connect the solutions into one collaborative effort. I give you an example what we did in Pekalongan. For example, there has been breakwater that is built along the coastal area of the Pekalongan city. When the discussion happened, we involve the community, especially the fisher folks, because they are the one that will be affected if there is a breakwater in front of their coastal area. But also the scientists, because they want to make sure that there is still the marine life protected, even the breakwater is there. But also the local government, because they need to make sure that policies are prepared and developed and implemented properly based on the consultation. So this is where KEMITRAAN comes into the picture. With our funding from the Adaptation Fund, we make sure that the solution is particularly involve the community, make the community part of the solution. What are the things that we do? Due to the loss of agriculture, a lot of people, of course, lost their livelihoods. So we try to revive something that has been there, like what I wear here. It's called batik. The batik producing area is diminishing in Pekalongan as well due to the flooding. But we want to make sure that they can still revive their economic activities by adding value to the batik that they are producing, which is using the natural coloring, that the price is much higher. So they can still do the work. We help with the production technique, but also we help with the economic marketing activities as well. In that way, we hope that even if they lost their agriculture area, they can still produce something else that still give good livelihoods for them. The same thing with the ladies in the village. We help them with the home gardening so that they can still produce something in the areas that can still grow spinach, things like that, so that it will help them with the economy of the household. So you can see here the ladies on the left, on the right side, they are building their home garden. On top of that is the mangrove that is developed to ensure that the water is not coming too fast, too far to the land. And the fisher folks are the ones that are taking care of the mangrove development. And then on the left side is some local economic development activities that the communities are doing in Pekalongan right now. Okay, what we are actually doing, we are not just developing a project, but we develop a systems. With a good governance, trust is developed. And because trust is there, collective actions can be assured. So it's not just the government, the local government that is busy and have a big headache with the floods that they are facing, but there's a joint effort, collective effort that can address the issue, including the participation of the local community. And because of that, we have the longer-term resilience that can be developed in the areas that used to be just the government that has the solution, but not everybody is part of the solution. Okay, what lessons that we can share with you from Indonesia? Yes, the government has been working very hard to protect the shorelines, but we make it into something that is called building community resilience. We talk about projects, but then we also talk about systems. Government alone used to be like that, but now it's a collaborative governance that involves the community, the civil society, and the private sector. Beneficiaries, they used to be called beneficiaries, but now they are partners because everyone is also proactively taking their responsibility. Infrastructure is not just that, but it's actually integrated solutions because we have the breakwater, but we also have the mangrove plantation. We also have other things that are supporting that the infrastructure becomes much more meaningful. And the project is not just funding the project, but also longer-term transformation that we hope is happening in Pekalongan. Having said that, what we think is important is that we connect all stakeholders, and because of that, resilience will follow. This is what I want to leave the question to you. Resilience is built together, and that's what makes it last. I want to hear the experience from Mumbai and from other parts of the country and other parts of the world as well on how KEMITRAAN, together with our communities and government, can do a better job in making sure that climate resilience is there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think you have said so powerfully what we have been fearing here in Mumbai as well. Some of you know that the sea level rise around Mumbai is also probably going to rise at the same, because sea is, of course, a common sea level. So it's also going to be about 1 centimeters per year, which is what you said in your presentation. But you have an additional issue of land sinking, which is about 3 to 4 centimeters. And therefore, you're going under much faster. But what's really alarming, and I did not know that the situation is so dire, is almost 75% of the agriculture is lost, right? And the water remains, the place remains flooded throughout the year. So you don't really have dry land at all in some of these places. So whether that's a future that we are going to see here in Mumbai, we don't know. We'll come back to the solutions if at all you have any solutions for us to take. But I think what you said is very, very powerful. There's a report that was made by an NGO called C-STEP, which says 10% of Mumbai's land will go underwater by 2040. We're talking about in the next 14 years' time, 10% of the land is likely to go underwater. Now, which parts we don't know as yet, and that's one of the reasons why I think this kind of awareness is very important for us. But thanks a lot. I think you have given a very powerful message of collaboration and looking at the entire problem slightly differently. You said that, for example, rather than looking at beneficiaries, look at them as partners. You know, some of these very powerful statements that you made. So thank you very much for a very, very interesting presentation. I now call upon the next speaker, Mr. Sheng Xuefeng from Shanghai, and he will talk about your experience, and we have a lot of questions to ask you as well. So hold your horses. We'll, of course, come back to you and ask you questions, but please go ahead with your presentation.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And I think it's a really great honor for me to be here. And I would like to share with you Shanghai's approach to coastal protection, the urban flooding monitoring, and the boundary city development in Shanghai. And maybe as you know, Shanghai is a typical coastal city, and it sits on the eastern of Shanghai with the Pacific Ocean to the eastern. So the area you can see from the slide about Shanghai is 6,300 square kilometers, and we have almost 570 kilometers of coastline. And on average, Shanghai will have 2 or 3 typhoons every year, and the annual rainfall average around 1,400 millimeters. And when typhoon meet heavy rains, they often trigger storm surges. So for years, coastal defense, urban flood, and saltwater intrusions have been among our most difficult governance challenges. And today we are using more and more digital and intelligent technologies in the city governance. We now use AI-powered weather forecasting. We use IoT monitoring along the seawall, and we use the city-scale digital twins. These technologies allow us to predict the typhoon path more accurately, to detect the saltwater intrusion earlier, and sense the flood in real time. Now let's focus on three topics: the coastal defense, the urban flood control, and the sponge cities construction in Shanghai. The first is about the coastal defense, typhoon. As you know, typhoon, heavy rain, and storm tides often combine together to batter our seawalls. The rising sea levels and the riverbank erosions have also caused seepage and structural weakness in some sections of the riverbank and the seawalls. Also, during the dry season, the saltwater push upstreams and testing the seawall's abilities. The traditional manual patrols have very limited coverage and cannot monitor the entire coastline in real time. So that is why in recent years, Shanghai has turned to digital and smart technology to upgrade its seawall defense system. We can take the 14 kilometers seawall as examples. It has been, as you can see in the slide, it has been eroded by the tides and the typhoon for a long time. The hidden problems like the eternal seepage, void in the soil, are very difficult to detect through manual inspections. So we use the new technology to help us, such as the Beidou satellite, drones, and radars, especially the radar. As you can see the picture, we use a ground-penetrating radar as a non-invasive CT scan. Electromagnetic waves penetrate the soil and map the deep cracks and the seepage pathways. And based on the radar data, we can make better repair plans and use a digital platform to manage the entire process from detecting to restoration. And to further promote smart development, Shanghai has issued a standard. The name is Technical Standard for Automated Safety Monitoring of Embankment and Seawall, as you can see the slide. This standard encourages the use of Beidou satellite InSAR kind of radar and drones for automated monitoring even under very extreme conditions. So in short, this standard makes a major shift for Shanghai seawalls management from the very traditional manual patrols to a digital intelligent model. It builds a stronger safety barrier for our megacity. Now let me turn to the urban flooding. Shanghai has low, flat terrains and a very dense river network. Most built-up areas are less than 4 meters above the sea level. Our average annual rainfalls range from 1,100 to 1,400 millimeters. So flood risk has always been with us. So with smart monitoring, Shanghai has built an integrated system that covers sensory analysis, alerting, and response. As you can see from the slide, the core is the distributed IoT sensor devices and the network, the IoT network. We place the water level sensors, the rain gauger, and the soil moisture monitors at low-lying roads, underground garage entrance, and along the riverbanks. We now have a much higher efficient way than the traditional methods. And third, I will share with you about the sponge cities. Shanghai has issued many sponge cities plans and programs. As you can see in this chart, we divide the city into 3 zones. The first is the low-impact development zones, mainly refer to the new and redevelopment area in the city. and some part of the new towns. The second is ecological restoration zones. That way means the area around the city center and the new towns. The third part is the ecological protection zones, which are referred to the outer suburbs, key ecology nodes, the corridors, natural reserves, and water source protection area. Okay, finally, I will briefly mention our very most comprehensive urban digital governance platform. The name is One Net for All. You can see from the slides. I won't go into detail today, but this is Shanghai's flagship platform for smart city operations. It integrates really all the city's management scenarios and the data, and it is constantly being upgraded. So I truly hope that in the future we can invite you to Shanghai. Let's explore together in greater depth the path of intelligent urban development. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I think what you have shown us is a level of preparedness that you already have. Apart from creating defense mechanisms, but now you are introducing intelligent systems to see how they work and how they work efficiently for the city. We'll come back again with a lot of questions to you, but now I'm going to request our next speaker from Egypt. We have Dr. Aladdin Ibase from Egypt. Egypt, as we know, is the River Nile has been the cradle of civilization for centuries. And we were discussing this just before this talk, whether Nile itself is at risk because of sea level rise. You'll talk a little bit about it. I'm going to request you to talk about your experience, about what you're doing in your country, specifically Egypt. Over to you.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. Good afternoon for you all, and thank you very much for your lovely invitation. First of all, I would like to express my happiness to be here in the great country of India, the country of the great personality Mahatma Gandhi. I would like today to share the Egyptian experience against the problem of sea level rise. But let me start from the beginning with a very brief introduction about loss and damage, because sea level rise is apart from loss and damage. The UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, has established Warsaw International Mechanism in COP19 in the year of 2013 in Warsaw in Poland. They established Warsaw International Mechanism, or WIM, for loss and damage. There are three main functions of the WIM, or Warsaw International Mechanism. They are enhancing knowledge and understanding of comprehensive risk management approaches. The second one is strengthening dialogue, coordination, coherence, and synergies among relevant stakeholders. And finally, enhancing action and support, including finance, technology, and capacity building. So, Warsaw International Mechanism classified the weather events into two main events: the slow onset events and extreme weather events. If we look at the slow onset events, we will see sea level rise at the bottom. So sea level rise is an slow onset event, which occurs along many years. Today, the governor of Maharashtra said that we must transfer from dialogue to work. I will show you a very important example in Egypt for protecting the sea coastal regions and against sea level rise. The Integrated Coastal Zones Management ICZM project in Egypt. This is the main project in Egypt to confront sea level rise. The milestones of this project started at the year of 1994 with the Law for the Environment number 4. In the same year, there is establishment of the National Committee of Integrated Coastal Zone Management, NCICZM. After 2 years, the development of framework program of the development of National ICZM Plan for Egypt was appeared to light. In the same year, 1996, preparation of guidelines on EIA procedures. EIA means Environmental Impact Assessment. Every project in Egypt, we must make EIA for this project, Environmental Impact Assessment. In the year of 2002, preparation of guidelines on the EIA procedures, preparation of environmental guidelines for the development of coastal areas, and finally, in the year of 2002, developing the second National Environment Action Plan. After 5 years, re-establishment of National Committee for ICZM, and finally, in the year of 2009, amendment to the Law for the Environment number 4. So, I will show some small idea about this project. Egypt unveils its first comprehensive strategy, and this is very important for every city in the world. Integrated Coastal Zone Management and securing national investments from sea level rise risks from the year 2025 to the year of 2100. Egypt's plan for its coastal governorates focuses on decentralizing coastal defense, utilizing scientific climate risk data for investments, and expanding nature-based solutions across 1,200 kilometers of the Mediterranean coastline. So, the Egyptian coast on the Mediterranean Sea, the total length of this coast is 1,200 kilometers. So, we made in Egypt a very big effort for protecting the sea. So, my colleague from Indonesia, Nurina, said that the governance is very important. So, we started by founding on the left a strategic framework and policy, the foundation of very strong strategic framework and policy, which must be in alignment with our local laws in Egypt and the international conventions. There is no good work without good governance. So, we make, after that, a higher ministerial committee, then technical support committee, then government integrated management committees, which will be responsible for the implementation of this project. If you see, we divided the Egyptian coast into 6 main units, then to 16, as you see, 16 subunits. Each subunit undergone an assessment of its economic, social, and environmental characteristics to will be attuned to the specific nature of each region. So, this is a view of the total Egyptian coast on the Mediterranean Sea. Start from the east, the city of Arish, and the governorate of North Sinai, then to Garboub, the last point in Egypt, in the governorate of Marsa Matruh, near Libya. As you see, comprehensive geographic coverage and bridging the data gap, Egypt has achieved a strategic milestone through the enhancing climate change adaptation in the Nile Delta and the north coast of Egypt project, successfully establishing the first integrated monitoring system that covered the entire Egyptian Mediterranean coastline. My colleague from China, Mr. Xuefeng, said that monitoring is very important. So we must make very accurate monitoring to get the best solution. So this system aims to bridge a significant long-term data gap by providing continuous and representative observations from Arish, as I said, in the far east of Egypt, to Garboub, governor of Matruh in the far west. This step serves as the national nucleus for a coastal monitoring system, ensuring that the Egyptian state possesses a precise and comprehensive informational vision of all changes occurring along northern maritime front through 24 hours for the 7 days of the week. Continuous monitoring and continuous observation. So, as you see, real-time sea level and meteorological monitoring, the project's technical infrastructure includes the deployment of 7 advanced sea level rise monitoring stations along the coast, utilizing both pressure and radar technologies for monitoring. These stations are capable of transmitting data in real time to the National Water Research Center, which is located in the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation in Egypt. Server and are strategically distributed to cover the entire coastline from Arish to Garboub, as I said. The last line, as I said, providing full 24 hours per 7 days integration in monitoring both marine and atmospheric phenomena. So I would like to tell you now and nowadays, the Egyptian coast, all the coast, every centimeter is covered with maps, is covered with monitoring on the Mediterranean Sea in Egypt. So I will try to summarize the IZM plan project. The partners are the ministry, as I said, the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, also the funds, essential fund from the Green Climate Fund or GCF. The international credit entity is UNDP in Egypt, and with the help also of the fourth partner, the Authority of Shores Protection in Egypt. The total budget of the project is $105 million US. GCF pay 1.385 million US dollar, and the other is from the Egyptian Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. The total lifespan of this project is 8 years, started at the 1st of January in the year of 2018 and will end, now we are in the final stages, in the end of November this year, 2026. So we have national designated entity, Egyptian Environmental Affairs Agency, EEAA, Ministry of Local Development and Environment, where I am working now. As I said, accredited entity, this UNDP, executive entity, Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation of Egypt. Beneficiaries, 5 governorates in the hot spots on the sea, and directly benefiting 7,068.164 people, among them 3 1,077.189 are women, and the indirectly benefiting 16.9 people. How long the total distance? It is 69 kilometers. And as I said before, the total hotspots are 16 hotspots on the total sea coast. What are the nature-based solutions? About 80% of this project is implemented by the nature-based solution, which is environmental friendly. Like, we use beach nourishment with sand. We use reusing degraded material and the sand dike system. Also, we use sand trapping barriers. These barriers are natural from the reed fences or strong plants from the vegetation in the area. Also, we use sand dikes or sand dunes, and these are the 5 governorates, the parties which we used the sand dunes or sand dikes. Also, I would like to give you a very small idea about protection in the governorate of Beira in Egypt. Beira is in the Delta region, which is low in the level. This project is dredging operation of the Nile River estuary in Rosetta branch. River Nile has 2 branches, Damietta and Rosetta. So, in the governorate of Kafr Sheikh and the Beira, blockage of the estuary by sediment act as natural dam that prevents the river from discharging in its excess water into the sea, which can use water to back up and flood farmland and neighboring cities. The ICM is not only a project for protect sea level against sea level rise. No, but we have some very important outputs, like we make some glass houses or greenhouses to grow some important plants for us, like some vegetables. Also, small development projects like the help of the fishermen for making some nets for them. Also, we have a study of the special and economic component of the project for the gender time. Also, we make a landscape for protection projects in coastal areas. And this one is very important because it includes some important crops for Egypt like wheat, maize, and rice. And finally, in Egypt, we appreciate and support the choosing of Alexandria in Egypt as a model of protecting sea level rise beside the city of Jakarta in Indonesia. So, Alexandria and the BRICS group, this is the logo or the symbol of Alexandria city. Alexandria city, it is the second largest city in Egypt. It's a primary seaport, and it's a historic cultural capital on the Mediterranean Sea. Founded by Alexander the Great in 3031 BCE, and was the capital of Egypt for 1,000 years. It was the capital before Cairo. Now, as you know, Cairo, contemporary Alexandria is a bustling economic powerhouse, a vital industrial hub, and the key focal point for Egypt's climate resilience and the urban expansion strategies. Alexandria, the total population is 5.5 million of people. The area 2,879 kilometers. The length of Alexandria coast on the Mediterranean Sea about from 70 to 72 kilometers. Also, the Alexandria shores are 17 kilometers along approximately. Distance from Cairo is 225 kilometers. So, Alexandria and the sea level rise. What is the story? What has happened in Alexandria? What the media said about Alexandria many years ago. Alexandria is characterized by low-lying areas in the east, such as Montaza And in the west, such as El Max or Max area. The average elevation of Alexandria is approximately 5 meters above sea level. So it is not too much. But the city topography varies considerably due to its longitudinal stretch along the coast. Around 40% of the city population and vital areas are concentrated along the coastline, highly vulnerable to flooding, which is called Corniche of Alexandria. Studies such as those published by BBC indicate that the city experienced natural land subsidence at rates of up to 20.7 centimeters annually due to erosion and coastal degradation. But, excuse me, I would like to show you this figure. It is not an Egyptian figure. It is a foreign figure. From many years, we hear in Egypt, Alexandria will drown, Alexandria will sink. No, they are rumors. It is fake. No, Alexandria will not sink, inshallah. Alexandria will not drown, inshallah. Alexandria, if you see this figure, and the curve rise by years until the year of 2140. So if we follow this figure, it means what a pity that Alexandria will sink, and that is not true. Just I want to show you, in your country, you must work. You don't hear any rumors, any fake speeches. You must work only honestly. So, Egyptian government efforts, I would like to share the experience. Finally, the Egyptian experience, as I said, the Egyptian government has made significant and intensive efforts to address the phenomena of sea level rise in coastal areas like Alexandria and the Nile Delta, as I said. The efforts undertaken at all levels of government include construction of massive concrete breakwaters and barriers in the places where the nature-based solutions are not efficient or not okay. To protect the shore of Alexandria, the government has also implemented both nature-based solution, as I said, and the engineering solution, like the breakwaters. These projects have been successful in protecting vital parts of Alexandria against inundation. There is no inundation. What are these solutions? In Alexandria, we made groins. As you see, these groins are very important. They are big stones to prevent the shock of the strong waves from the sea to the shore, not to make erosion to the shore. We make also jetties. The jetties, as you see, vertical. They are vertical on the shore. This is for the most severe waves. Also, we make, as I said, seawalls and revetments, which are hard engineering solutions. Also, in many areas of Alexandria, we make breakwaters for preventing the strong waves to attack the shore, especially in the region of Birmas and through 2 kilometers in Alexandria, especially beside a very important historic monument. It is Qaitbay Citadel in Alexandria, which is a very touristic visiting area in Alexandria. Aspects of coastal protection work is also in Alexandria. As you see, the Montazah Bridge in Alexandria, up to the lighthouse or fanar in Alexandria, from high waves and continuous erosion, which have caused cracks and partial collapse of the seawall and the foundations of the ancient bridge. But the work is present very effectively. The Citadel of Qaitbay, very important monument in Egypt, as you see, protecting this citadel and the reinforcement, development, and protection project of Alexandria, Corniche, Tours, Manshia, and Raml Station. Also, another aspect of protection, sand dunes, very big work, beach nourishment with sands, protecting the coast of Alexandria first phase from Bir Mas'ud to Al Mahrousa for the distance of 2 kilometers. This is my contact information. I am sorry, the presentation, I think it is long or not long, I don't know. If you have any questions, this is my contact information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ivase. Yeah, thank you. So I think you made a very bold statement. You said that Alexandria will not sink, right? But we have examples. Jakarta and the province that you talked about are already underwater. So we'll come to some of those questions. But I think the theme seems to be that we need to do something. We need to protect our shorelines and our lands to see that it doesn't go down under. The question that I have with the audience here is, and most of this audience is from Mumbai, how many of you actually think that Mumbai is going to go even 10% underwater by 2040? Please raise your hands. You really think, I mean, there are a large number of people who actually think that Mumbai is going to go underwater. At least 10% of Mumbai is going to go underwater
Sanjay?
because of sea level rise, right? So do you think that there is that recognition of the urgency to do something about it? Do you see there's a recognition of that? Please raise your hands.
Sanjay, I see 100 hands.
Yes, so I think the difference in the number of people who recognize the problem and the number of people who think that we still don't have a solution, there's still a large gap between the two. And that's one of the reasons why I think we are in this conference, to create this awareness and find solutions. But I'm also delighted to actually see Mr. Ramakrishnan here, and he also heads the Institute of Oceanography. I just want to ask you a question. Do you really see sea level rise as an imminent danger that all of us should be taking seriously?
But thank you very much for that question. Yes, the short answer is an emphatic yes. The presentations really laid out the problem and what is being done. The sea level is raised by the raising emissions into the global atmosphere, the climate change. The cities, no matter how strongly they advocate for reducing the impact of sea level rise, have very little control on that. About 2 years ago, there was a conference in Tonga that the UN Secretary General attended to talk about sea level rise and the impact that it has on coastlines. All of the BRICS countries have coastlines, and what can be done about it. Next month, the United Nations is adopting a declaration on sea level rise, which is exactly addressing the questions that you have addressed. And though you have said, Mr. Chair, that we don't know exactly where the sea level rise is going to impact Mumbai, there are projections that can be made, and my institute does that across the board to lots of countries, and we can tell with some certainty where that area is going to be. But we need to prepare well for it. And the state I come from, Massachusetts, in fact has a plan. The plan is that if the sea level rise impacts the local communities, immediately a string of actions come into effect. You don't have to then sit and decide, well, the sea level rise is here, how are we going to cope with it? No. If the sea level rise is 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and if the impact is known, immediately the action is taken by the government and the plans are put in place. I think more of that needs to be done, but the short answer to your question is the most emphatic yes. Sea level rise impacts all of the member countries of the BRICS countries, and the more we take into account what can be done to protect the communities that are heavily impacted by it, the better those communities will be. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I'm going to ask you from Ms. Nurina about your experience, not only about the province that you talked about, but also Jakarta. But before that, I must also acknowledge that all of you talked about two. One is engineering solutions and one is nature-based solution. Now, there's a lot of audience here from Mumbai, and the issue that we have is that a lot of our nature-based solutions are at risk. For example, we have mangroves, which is one natural defense that the city has. Then mangroves are now gradually getting removed to make way for new construction. So these are issues that the city of Mumbai have. Some of the green areas, we have Devi Goenka here, one of the champions of protecting the green areas here in the city. Some of those areas actually are those solutions that you talked about, nature-based solutions, are gradually getting eroded from our landscape. So before we talk about Mumbai specifically, I want to ask you, Ms. Nurina, about if you've seen what happened to Jakarta, and I think Jakarta, a large part of the capital, is going to move into a different capital altogether, right? Because of the sea level rise and sinking. How long back did you feel that this awareness started in the city that the land is sinking and the city is going to get flooded? And how long have your efforts been going on, not only in the provinces that you talked about, but also in Jakarta?
The reason why I don't talk about Jakarta because it's not a good example. There is no coherent effort from the government, from the private sector, from the people, from the population on how to address this issue. We know the city is sinking, but I don't think there is any particular concerted effort that involves the people. One of the main problems why Jakarta is sinking is because of the water pumping. We don't want to subscribe to the water provided by the water company, but we drill the water, including the areas where I live. It's upper middle scale area, but everyone has water drained from the ground. So you can imagine that all over the city, the water pumping is a big problem. The second issue is that the water that is coming down from the mountainous area, from the upland of Jakarta. That is another problem because deforestation is also there. Everything that you can think of that make the situation in Jakarta worse is there. There is no concerted effort in Jakarta. So if I answer your question, I would say that education for the people and enforcing of the policy and regulation are number one. That doesn't happen in Jakarta just yet, unfortunately. So it comes to the question of the capacity and the willingness, strong willingness of the local government. It's not only in Jakarta, but Jakarta greater area. It's being initiated at the moment because we have new governors, we have new municipal leaders that are going to that direction, but it's probably way too late by now. I think Jakarta is sinking.
Yeah, so I think what you said is pretty scary, and in some ways we see those signs here as well, that there's not a great deal of awareness, probably because the community is still not aware of the impending danger. And even the policymakers probably are not really very aware, or they're probably scared about talking about it because it could potentially have a political consequence. What do you think about that from your part of the world? Do you think politically is it a sensitive issue?
Indeed, yes. We have a system, election system that goes every 5 years, and everyone wants to make sure that the second term they will win. But once they're in the second term, they don't think about the people anymore. They start talking about the next candidate that the parties are going to promote. So yeah, the political system actually worsened the situation.
So thank you very much. How do you raise community awareness? I'll come to that question a little later. But now with you, I just want to ask you, you talked about engineering solutions and you talked about technology, right? So tell us specifically about how technology is helping you identify what are the dangers and how do you react to it?
Yeah. As you mentioned just now, we are facing a lot of problems like sea level, like the saltwater intrusion, and also the urban flooding. I think it's a very very normal phenomenon in Asian countries. And but I think one of the most important things to do for us, like our cities, is smart city. That means we are trying to using the technology to help us to deal with the urban to city problems, to help us to make a better governance of the city governance. So like in Shanghai, also I think in many cities of the world, we are using more and more new technology like AI technologies to help us to monitoring, to sensor, to detecting, to deal with the future problems, to make future ready city. So like especially the AI technologies such as with the forecaster solutions in Shanghai, the name is Mazhu, M-A-Z-H-U. So we use AI-empowered solutions in Weathercaster to help us to find, to get more accurate weather forecaster. And with better weather forecaster systems, we can help the different communities to deal with, to handle, to defense the potential damage from the weather, from the climate change, from the typhoon. And so maybe we can find a lot of things to do, but I think one of the most things is to make smart city, to make the city smarter and intelligent, in the future.
Thank you very much. I think we have one session tomorrow also about how to use AI in handling some of these issues. Let me come to you, Dr. Iwase. I really liked your confidence that, Alexandria is not going to sink. What gives you that confidence? Because you've seen this example of Jakarta, you've seen the example of the province that she talked about. You've seen that even Shanghai is also experiencing some of these effects of climate change and sea level rise. What gives you the confidence that Alexandria is not going to sink?
I think after you see the presentation, you will have a great confidence also, not me. Because the Egyptian government is, the presentation, I know it is long, but it is not sufficient for showing the Egyptian efforts against sea level rise in Egypt. So the confidence comes from, I'm working in this field and I see the number of projects. I showed only 2 projects now for the Delta region and for Alexandria. So in Egypt, we have many efforts. It started officially from the year of 2015, when we established the Egyptian National Council of Climate Change. Before that, there was a very hard work. So we have a sum of many projects to protect the sea level rise. So I see this work by myself. I am a member of a steering committee of one of these projects. Also, there are another projects also for monitoring this. In Egypt, within few months, we will publish the interactive map for the year of 2100. This map will show every centimeter in Egypt, not only the coastal regions, but the whole of Egypt, nearly 1 million kilometers square. So the interactive map will be available for you all to see the vulnerability region, which will be an article for the decision makers. So the great efforts of us give me this confidence. And as I see, I laugh when I hear that Alexandria will sink or will drown. This is not true.
Thank you very much.
You convinced Sanjay or not?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much because we would like to have similar confidence here in Mumbai as well. So, but you talked about, all three of you talked about land subsidence and also sea level rise. So it's a double whammy. The land actually sinking and sea level rise happening. So I want to know from a solution perspective, you talked about, pumping of water, which is leading to land subsidence. Do you also have a similar situation of land subsidence, and what measures are you taking to prevent land from sinking?
Yeah, I think almost all cities will face such problem in very specific area. And I think for the city government, they need to use more accurate monitors to know which area is sinking. So that's what we want to the smart city.
Right. I don't think we have in Mumbai, and I may be wrong about this, we have any sensors or monitors to check which areas of the city and which areas of the coast, even for Maharashtra, are sinking. So there's one lesson that we can certainly take from you is to monitor these levels. But with you, and in your specific province, where you now know that throughout the year you're going to have flooding of that province. What is it? Is it possible now for you to think of a situation where you can pump out water and make this land dry again? Are there any solutions that are being talked about?
Ideally, yes, but I don't think the government has money for that. So the solution is probably not as infrastructure based like that, but more on how, for example, in the case of Pekalongan, the upland area is being reforested. And that will hopefully reduce the runoff from the highland. That will perhaps significantly reduce the water that goes all the way to Pekalongan city and the coastal area. The sea level is probably less problematic than the alarm subsidence. So we want to address that issue. And actually, KEMITRAAN has another project that is being prepared at the moment to deal with a greater Pekalongan area, because it's not the city of Pekalongan that is suffering and has contributing factor, but also the greater area. So the upland and the lowland, they are all integrated into one bigger project together with the government, especially in the reforestation, but also the dealing with the industry, not big industry in Pekalongan, but medium and small scale industry that need to be part of the process. I did not mention about the work that we want to develop with the private sector. So another area that we work is actually to bring the private sector, medium and small scale private sector companies to actually talk and become part of the solution. That is what we are doing because it's less costly. The government doesn't have money to talk about your sophisticated, approach, but get everyone to be part of the solution and do their part to be responsible for their contributing negative effects to the problem. That's what we are doing at the moment.
So you also talked about $80 to $100 billion worth of investment will be required to create seawalls, right? That you talked about in your presentation.
That's from the national government.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And you think that they won't have enough money to support that kind of investment?
No.
Okay. So you will have to find community-based solutions.
I think so. And that's more affordable and probably more lasting solution. Because the great seawall that is being developed, 500 kilometers, requires so much investment. Where is the money coming from? And then it also causes another environmental problems.
Yes. So we're going to start in just 2 minutes. We'll get you to participate in these discussions. So in case any of you have any questions to any of the participants, please raise your hand and ask your question. We have 20 minutes for a question answer session. But while you warm up, I want to ask you again, how do you get the community, say in Alexandria, how do you get the community to participate in this entire effort of ensuring that the city does not flood or the city is resilient enough against climate change? No, in your city, in your cities in Alexandria, for example. How do you get the community to participate in the government effort?
As we hear all now, my colleague from Indonesia said education is very important. And I wanted to focus on awareness. Awareness of the people, of the local community, beside the shores or in the cities which are lying on the coastal regions. So awareness is very important. Our community participate. As I said, there are many other projects. The projects including the insertion and the integration of the local community, local people into these projects. Because if there is a good contribution or strong contribution from the local community, the project will not success. We have a very important project in Upper Egypt. Upper Egypt, I mean the south of Egypt. In 5 governorates, in 15 villages. The local community participated. They make many important aspects of projects, like tomato drying. And we exported this tomato to Italy in this project by the local community. We trained the people for breeding birds like hens and others. So the local community has a very good participation in Egypt. Also, the making of centers for handicrafts, also in some areas, and also in some protected areas, because we have in Egypt 30 protected areas, which represent 15% of the total area of Egypt. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.